Ever have that feeling like time is just flying by? You blink, and a week is gone. You look back, and it seems like high school, or college, or even last year was just yesterday. It's a nearly universal experience, especially as we get older. We joke about it, we lament it, but is it just a feeling? Is it all in our heads, a trick of memory or perception? Or is there something deeper going on, something that science can actually measure and explain? Could time, that fundamental dimension of the universe, actually be speeding up? Let's dive into this surprisingly complex, and surprisingly fascinating, question. We're not talking about science fiction tropes or mystical forces. This isn't about wormholes or time machines, yet. We're talking about the everyday experience of time, and the widespread feeling that it's accelerating. In this video, we're going to unpack this sensation. We'll explore the psychology of time perception, how our brains process and remember events. We'll delve into the neuroscience, the actual mechanisms in our brains that track time. And yes, we'll even touch on the physics, because Einstein's theories do have something to say about the nature of time itself. Is it all in our heads? Or could there be something more to this feeling that time is speeding up? Let's start with the most likely explanation, our brains, and specifically, the way we perceive and remember time. Our perception of time isn't like a perfectly accurate clock ticking away in our heads. It's subjective, fluid, and heavily influenced by a whole range of factors. One of the most significant factors is novelty, the amount of new information and new experiences we're processing. When we're young, everything is new. Every day is filled with first steps, first words, first day of school, first friends, first everything. Our brains are constantly bombarded with novel stimuli, forming new connections, and laying down vivid, detailed memories. This intense processing and encoding of new information makes time feel slower, more expansive. Think back to your childhood summers. They probably seemed to stretch on forever, didn't they? Each day was an adventure, packed with new experiences and discoveries. As we get older, our lives tend to become more routine. We settle into patterns, we develop habits, and we experience fewer truly novel events. Our brains become more efficient at processing familiar information, and we form fewer distinct memories. It's like our brains are on autopilot, going through the motions, and the days, weeks, and months start to blur together. We're not laying down as many strong, detailed memories, so when we look back, it feels like time has passed more quickly. This is often described as the reminiscence bump, the tendency for older adults to have increased recollection for events that occurred during their adolescence and early adulthood, because that was a time of heightened novelty and change. Another key factor is attention. When we're fully engaged in an activity, deeply focused and in the flow state, time seems to vanish. Think about being engrossed in a captivating book, a challenging project, an exciting game, or a stimulating conversation. Hours can pass in what feels like minutes. Conversely, when we're bored, restless, waiting for something, or experiencing discomfort, time seems to drag on endlessly. Our perception of time is directly linked to how much attention we're paying to it, and how much cognitive effort we're expending. The more attention we pay to the passage of time, the slower it seems to go. The less attention we pay, the faster it seems to fly by. So, how does our brain actually do this? How does it track and represent time? Neuroscience is still unraveling the complexities of this process, but we know there isn't one single timekeeping center in the brain. Instead, multiple brain regions work together in a complex network to create our subjective sense of time. The hippocampus, which is crucial for forming long-term memories, plays a significant role. The cerebellum, traditionally associated with motor control and coordination, is also involved in timing and rhythm. And the prefrontal cortex, the seat of higher-level cognitive functions like planning, decision-making, and working memory, is essential for our ability to perceive and anticipate the future. Studies using brain imaging techniques, like fMRI, functional magnetic resonance imaging, and EEG, electroencephalography, have shown that different brain regions are activated when we're processing different durations of time, from milliseconds to minutes to hours. There's evidence that our brains use different mechanisms for tracking short intervals, like the rhythm of a song, and longer intervals, like the passage of a day. Some researchers believe that the brain uses a kind of internal clock based on the rhythmic firing of neurons, while others propose that time perception is more distributed and depends on the overall state of brain activity. Our perception of time can be dramatically altered by various factors. Emotions play a big role. Fear, for example, can make time seem to slow down in the moment, as our brains go into hyper-alert mode, processing information at a much faster rate. This is why a car accident or a near fall can feel like it's happening in slow motion. Conversely, joy and excitement can make time seem to fly by. Stress and anxiety can also distort our sense of time, making it feel either faster or slower depending on the situation. And of course, certain drugs can profoundly alter our internal clock. Stimulants, like caffeine or amphetamines, can speed up our perception of time, while depressants, like alcohol or opiates, can slow it down. Now let's address the elephant in the room, or perhaps the melting clock in the room. We've established that our perception of time is subjective and malleable. But could there be any objective, physical changes to the flow of time itself? This is where we venture into the realm of theoretical physics, and things get, well, a little mind-bending. Albert Einstein's theory of relativity, both special and general, fundamentally changed our understanding of space and time. Before Einstein, time was considered absolute and universal, a constant, unwavering backdrop against which events unfolded. But Einstein showed that time is relative. It can be affected by both gravity and speed. The stronger the gravitational field, the slower time passes relative to a weaker gravitational field. And the faster an object moves, the slower time passes for that object relative to a stationary observer. This isn't just theoretical. It's been experimentally verified. Atomic clocks flown on high-speed jets have been shown to run slightly slower than identical clocks on the ground. And the GPS satellites that we rely on for navigation have to take relativistic effects into account, or their calculations would be inaccurate. So, could there be subtle changes in Earth's gravity, or in our motion through space, perhaps due to the expansion of the universe or our galaxy's movement, that are actually causing time to flow differently now than it did in the past? It's an extremely unlikely scenario. Any such changes would be minuscule, far too small to be perceived by humans, and would require a dramatic shift in fundamental physical laws. There's absolutely no scientific evidence to support this idea. But it's not entirely impossible, within the framework of our current understanding of physics. More radical, and even less likely, are fringe theories that propose fluctuations in the fundamental constants of the universe, like the speed of light or the gravitational constant, or the existence of multiple timelines or parallel universes, that could somehow be interacting with our own and affecting our perception of time. These ideas are highly speculative and lack any empirical support, but they illustrate the enduring human fascination with the nature of time and the possibility of manipulating it. While we probably can't alter the fundamental laws of physics, there are things we can do to influence our subjective experience of time, to make it feel like it's passing more slowly, or at least, to make our lives feel more full and meaningful. The key, as we've discussed, is novelty, attention, and memory formation. One of the most effective strategies is to seek out new experiences. Travel to new places, learn new skills, meet new people, try new foods, anything that breaks you out of your routine and exposes you to novel stimuli. This will stimulate your brain, create stronger memories, and make time feel more expansive. Think about learning a new language, taking up a musical instrument, starting a new hobby, or even just exploring a different part of your city. Another powerful technique is to practice mindfulness and cultivate present moment awareness. When you're fully present, paying attention to your senses, your thoughts, and your emotions, without judgment, time seems to stretch out. You're not lost in worries about the future or regrets about the past. You're fully here, in the now. Meditation, yoga, and deep breathing exercises can all help to develop this ability to be present. Finally, make an effort to create memorable moments. Don't just let life pass you by in a blur of routine. Plan special events, celebrate milestones, take photos, keep a journal, and actively reflect on your experiences. The more you consciously create and savor positive memories, the richer and fuller your life will feel, and the slower time will seem to pass, in retrospect. So, is time actually speeding up? The answer, from a scientific perspective, is almost certainly no. The laws of physics, as we understand them, don't allow for any significant changes in the flow of time on a macroscopic scale. But is the feeling that time is speeding up real? Absolutely. Our perception of time is a complex and subjective experience, shaped by our age, our routines, our attention, our emotions, and our memories. And as we get older, that perception often shifts, making it feel like the years are flying by faster than ever. The newborn period is the time that people feel that goes by slower, filled with new sensations and discoveries. The key takeaway here is that while we can't control the objective passage of time, we can influence our subjective experience of it. By embracing novelty, cultivating mindfulness, and creating meaningful memories, we can make our lives feel richer, fuller, and perhaps even a little bit slower. And that, ultimately, is what matters most. So, what's your experience of time? Do you feel like it's speeding up, slowing down, or something in between? What strategies do you use to try to manage your perception of time? Do you have any personal anecdotes or experiences that relate to this topic? Share your thoughts, your questions, and your stories in the comments below. Let's have a fascinating discussion about this most fundamental, and most elusive, aspect of human existence. And if you enjoyed this exploration of the subjective nature of time, please subscribe to the channel. We've got plenty more mind-bending mysteries and surprising facts to share with you. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single video. Give this one a thumbs up to show your support, and share it with your friends. It's a conversation starter, for sure. Until next time, stay curious, stay present, and remember, time may be an illusion, but it's the only illusion we've got. So make the most of it.